Sometimes you have to be very direct with people and you may have to correct people. Like, so here we are, for instance, here we are at this job. We got all these things to do or in this place, and you want to focus on me. Here we are at this place at church. You're supposed to be worshiping the Lord and you want to focus on me. You got all the time and opportunity to work on your own life, fix that dysfunctional relationship you got with your kids or your spouse or your mom or your dad. Maybe go get your money up. Maybe work on your physical appearance, work on yourself so you could have a little more self-love. But instead of focusing on any of those things, even to a micro aspect, you want to put your attention and your focus on me? Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're dysfunctional and I think you have issues. And I refuse to allow my conscience to be seared and imposed upon through your projections of what's on your own conscience. Your priorities are not right. And sometimes you got to tell people like that. So I'm not directing this toward anyone specifically, but I'm just saying you have to defend and protect yourself. Some people are not right and they're not correct. And if you allow them to bullshit you and play with your time, your attention, and your emotions, they will do just that and leave you in a low place. But consider this, a healthy, functioning person more than likely has a lot of things in their own interpersonal self as an individual or in their life, in their relationships, in their home life, and their finances, and all these things that they could focus on and work on rather than putting in time and energy and effort into being petty and distractions toward others. So whenever you're dealing with people that are toxic and manipulative and they're busybodies in other people's matters and they cause you distress and stress because they're projecting onto you, or they somehow want you to be held hostage to their conscience and how they feel about you and what they think about you, sometimes you got to get out of there, because in my opinion, those are people who lack a level of maturity because their priorities aren't right. And when you're dealing with such people and you're around them, they will distract you from the things you should focus on. So you could be doing one thing in a place that has nothing to do with how they feel about you or what this and that about this person, their past, but their focus in their mind, their conscience is you, your past, that situation, what this person thinks about you, how they feel about you. And so the whole conduct of your interactions with this person becomes tainted and based and rooted upon what's on their conscience, what's on their mind. Okay? So you got to be careful, because evil communications corrupt good manners. And if you're moving from your past, if you're moving from an old relationship, but you're in an environment where people are trying to keep your focus rooted backwards and locked in that energy and that old emotion, they're defiling your conscience, because you may not be on the same stuff. You may not be stuck on a person. You may not be dwelling in your past. You may not be walking around feeling sad for yourself and self-loathing, but you're around people that are projecting things and reviving things in your life that are dead to you. And this can be very difficult. This is why I believe the Bible talks about evil communications corrupt good manners. And I've made a few videos where I kind of talk about this, how a person is defiled. We become defiled how we judge people, because what we judge is what we take onto our own conscience. And this is why true judgment has to be done in love, because it corrects without engaging itself into being like-minded or producing evil and disguising evil and maliciousness and basically ill will toward another living human being who's created in God's image as what is right or righteous. That's why you shall know a tree by its fruit. So when you're dealing with people that are busybodies in your matters, that have put their focus on you in a toxic, unhealthy way, that have this over concern and need to express how they feel about your private life, about you, because they're highly opinionated about you and they need to exert their unrestricted emotion onto you, and they disguise it as concern or this or that, but really what they're trying to do is be heard, and they want to feel and force you into a position where you accept how they feel because they need to be understood. But instead of being heard and understood in a healthy way that is constructive, they become destructive, because what they really do is projecting onto you their views, their beliefs, their ideas, their feelings, their emotions. You got to get away from such people, because those are people that will try to rob you of your ability to not only move forward, but to exist on your own terms. And you will constantly be defiled in your own conscience by what they decide to bring up and play on and play around in your life with. So you could be growing past a situation, but you're dealing with people that are petty and trying to keep you locked in the past, or petty and trying to keep your focus in that direction. And 9 times out of 10, the reason why they do these things is not because they are just being righteous and right. A good portion of the time, there's always going to be ulterior motives. There's nothing more that manipulators love than to disguise their heart with ulterior motives. So they'll say they're doing something for one reason, but really deep within their heart, usually it's going to be coming from another place that's more self-centered, self-serving. You know what I mean? Even if that's just simply destroying another person. There's a lot of people that find self-fulfillment in being destructive to the social lives and relationships and potential of other people, because for one reason or another, maybe they're the type that compare themselves. Maybe there's something that you have that they envy. Maybe there's somebody that you're with that they covet after. Maybe there's an idea or something they see within you that they resent you for, so they kind of try to blind you or blind themselves to their own heart and their nature and the real motive at hand, and they disguise it as something else. But you shall know a tree by its fruit. And a healthy person who understands healthy boundaries, who has respect for the life of others and is balanced, is not going to fixate and put themselves against others in such a way as to produce and become a source of toxicity, because it not only taints the people around them, but first it taints them. Because before you can think to go be evil-hearted to somebody, you have to recognize that's first what's on your conscience. And you, by default, in your communication with that person, then start to defile the conscience of that person because they are being subjected to you. So who's the worst evil? The person who's initiating the issues and the problems, or the person who's responding or affected by these problems, okay? But of course, because we have to take accountability, this is where we have to learn to be mature enough to recognize the difference so we can protect ourselves and not be vulnerable to having people surrounding us in our environments that are not good for our lives, that are otherwise on a frequency that is hindering or setting us back, or becoming stumbling blocks and occasions to fall that have been strategically placed around us. Because sometimes these people won't know the difference. They won't view it as that. But you shall know a tree by its fruit. If you're dealing with somebody who's sowing discord, dysfunction, toxicity, sabotage, you know what I mean? Sabotaging otherwise healthy relationships, and, doing the bare minimum, trying to sabotage you on your job and doing stuff to make your life harder, then no matter what the disguise is or the cloak they wear for their maliciousness, you know that person's coming from a place that's not right. You know what I mean? No matter what they say or how they try to justify it away. And healthy, normal people don't fixate. They don't harass. They don't put themselves against other living people to be destructive, to pick at them. That's a sign of somebody with internal and internalized issues that they probably don't recognize, or that they are just functioning in their own toxicity. And until they learn to recognize, to take a step back and to realize that a lot of the concern and the issues that they feel they stand for are really just rooted in their own feelings and emotions and not necessarily beneficial as a whole to any cause, they won't ever be able to make any real change. They'll be the type that just complain, pick at people, and are bullies. You know what I mean? So if you find that this is what you've dealt with, sometimes you have to remind yourself, as if you were your own coach, right? Your spirit within you. Remind yourself not only of who you are, but remind yourself of rationalize with yourself the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? Don't reason away or excuse the ill behavior of other people, because what they're doing is projecting onto you to internalize the abuse that they're giving to you and rationalizing it, right? There's got to be a reason why. Well, remember this, remember that. No, you don't need to remember this or that. What you need to do is focus on yourself, move forward. If you're not dwelling in your past, living in your past, then don't dwell. And if you're not doing the same things from your past, dealing with the same people, then don't dwell on dead things that are behind you. You have to learn to grow and move forward. And if you're around people that have a problem with that, then you're not the problem, they are, because that's a part of your God-given right, is to pursue happiness, to thrive, to make choices, whether right or wrong, and to learn and to grow, to make wrongs right, to choose better choices, to be loving, to be kind, and to express yourself as genuine as you can to where you are at this phase and stage in your life. It's no one's job to try to police how you do that or how you feel, or to try to condemn you, or to try to access you, to try to basically emotionally and psychologically beat you up. That shows that they have more of an issue fixating, focusing, and dwelling on you than you do. And 9 times out of 10, if you were to remove yourself from that type of situation or person or any environment that is conductive of producing that or has people within that environment that are on that type of frequency, then all those problems, those stresses, those issues would probably fade away and just disappear. So stay focused, love yourself, be patient with yourself, and don't let anyone turn you into your own enemy. Don't let anyone blind you to working and operating against yourself. Okay? That's not God's will for your life. Love yourself. Do right by others, and you can't do wrong. All right, this is Nikki with the sauce. Take care.